What is going on, everybody? JT here, back with you in the studio, Studio 10-4, live again for another weekly update. Glad to be back here and able to have our weekly meeting and time together. And we've already got Trooper Dial in the green room holding up his sign. Don't wear your arms out, Trooper Dial. I'll be with you in a minute, buddy. He's got a sign he's going to share with us and a lot more today. So good to have everybody here and those that are coming along and I'm sure there's going to be a few of you because got quite a few I think that make drop in and share time with us today. Pete Henderson, always number one, buddy. Good to have you on. Oscar, good to have you. Talk to our mutual friend today, Mr. Mario Manette. More on him in a minute. But today's show, this is our monthly that we have with Trooper Dial. So I want everybody to take a minute. If you have any questions regarding any kind of enforcement or questions of legalities out on the road, checks you may have gone through, tickets you may have gotten, warnings you may have gotten and got off with, we'd love to have those to share in the show. Last month, we had a great slew of questions for Trooper Dial. Hopefully, we'll have the same thing again today. Tim, what's going on, Siebes? Good to have you on the show. Lots of stuff coming up here, especially in our near future. I won't be going there, but I wanted to make mention of it that part of Team 10-4 will be out this weekend, a big part of it, and that is going to be, and I'm bringing up the calendar right now because I want to mention a couple other ones that are coming up as well. But Dan, of course, and his son Parker were out last weekend at Brooks. I still haven't heard back from Dan on that one, so we'll be getting an update on that show, I'm sure, soon. We'll be making sure that give you good coverage on their show rundown here on Studio 10-4 Live, and of course the show report coming up in the edition soon. Speaking of new editions, we got one coming out, and we'll talk about that tonight too. We have No Coast coming up, and that is in Heritage Park, Forest City, Iowa. And Dan and Shan and Eric Hill will be there. They will have a booth. They will have some 10-4 stuff for you there at the booth, and of course, you get to hang out with some Team 10-4 members and take in the show. So drop by and see them and tell them JT sent you. Josh, what's going on, my friend? Love Josh. And, of course, Renee. I wonder how's Renee doing? I should get her on the show too, buddy. Steve Rodriguez, nice to have you in here today. April, Steve, the other half of the Siebes clan there out of Sparks, Nevada. Good to have both of you guys on. Upcoming also shows in the near future, depending on where you're at. You got Unk's Fall Brawl. I love they got a great name for that show. They really do. And that's I guess Unk's UNC's Fall Brawl, we'll call it. And that is the Coonley Motorsports Park in Thompson, Ohio. And then good one that if you're going to be in that area, the DMF OH for Cancer Benefit Truck Show and Pull. And that's on September 21st. By the way, Fall Brawl is on the 20th, 21st, 22nd. And then Mayberry is going to be happening on one end of the country, and that is not going to be our end of the country or side. We're going to be over at the Souza Memorial Truck Show in Turlock, California at the Stanislaus County Fairgrounds. And that is the third annual Souza Memorial Truck Show coming up. So can't wait for that one. Get to see everybody, CG and all the gang out in Turlock. Plus, I get to go down to Modesto and hang out. So I'm looking forward to that. Sean, what's happening? Good to have you on the show. Thanks for jumping in. Sean Swanson with us also. And by the way, there's a lot of people that tune in, and I don't get to see names sometimes. In fact, quite often this has been happening. So if I don't give you a shout out, it's not because I'm not seeing you or don't want to say howdy. It's just that it is. I'm not seeing you flat out. I'm flat out not seeing you. So if there was a way to fix that, I'm working with StreamYard to see what the solution's going to be so that I can see everyone. But I think the biggest one is if you don't comment, then I don't see you as a viewer. I just see the numbers that we have like, 20, 30, whatever viewers and beyond watching. So that's kind of how it works. But glad everybody could join in, whether you're watching from our Facebook page or YouTube. I can see the difference there. It does let me know that. Does not tell me which page you have tuned in from. So hopefully you're on Facebook. If you've clicked on a link, I'm hoping that it takes you to our feed and that we see that, and that way we can interact with everybody. So again, this weekend, you guys are going to be out at the No Coast, and that again in Forest City, Iowa. Dan and Shan and Eric Hill will be out there at the show for you guys to hang out with. In fact, Miss Shannon just joining us right now in the show. Driver what is happening? Mr. Dan the man lends himself. There he is. And who else we have? TW, what's going on? TW McDermott. All of a sudden, just a wave of people popping in. So thanks, guys, for shouting out, saying howdy. Appreciate you doing that. I missed Brooks last weekend. Had other stuff going on that I had to take care of. And even though it was such a close show, it's like 3 hours, I think, from where I'm at. But I just couldn't make that one happen this time. But I'll be at our final West Coast swing, all three of them. And that is Souza, Bobtail, and, of course, our show coming up. That is the 10-4 Trucker Rodeo and Show happening down in Bakersfield at the Kevin Harvick Kern County race facility down there. And this is a nice facility. This is going to be an outstanding event. In fact, if I can, after Trooper Dial and I get done, who I'm going to bring out here shortly, I'm going to see if I can find some video that I watched today. In fact, I've watched some pretty cool video today. Just totally sidetracked here now that I looked at this, but I want to make mention of a couple of things. First, next week, we're going to have Mario Minette on the show with us, and Mario is going to share some upcoming things that he's got going on. And not only that, but he's going to give some tips on performance. And this performance can be, better fuel mileage, more horsepower, more torque, longevity, meaning your engine lasts longer, more efficient all the way around. Depending on what you're shooting for, Mario's a guy who can give you a combination of those things or any one of those things that you want to really put an exclamation point on. And I talked to Mario today. He is one busy guy these days. His show was a big success up in Canada, and they're doing it again next year. And it's going to be a big deal. Not that it wasn't this year, because it was, but it's going to be even bigger next year, and a little earlier than it was, I think, this year's show, but right around the same time, end of June. But we'll have Mario on next week, and we'll get all the lowdown from Mario on that. And he will be at an event next week, and that's where he's going to be joining us. So I can't recall which event it was. And let me see if it was one that's on our calendar. No, it's not, but it's a race event. And honestly, you know what? I wonder if it's going to be the Coonley event. That could be the one. But if not, it's somewhere up in Minnesota that he might be. We'll get with Mario next week and get an update. Probably have him on a little early teaser on Monday. So we'll see what we can do about that. But I saw some video today that I want to share with you guys, like I said, after we talk with Trooper Dial, that are archived old videos that somebody shared on Facebook from past rodeos. So while we're working stuff with Trooper Dial out, I'll look for those. And hey, what's going on, Charles Hale in the house? Probably is the fall brawl. You're right, Dan, that Mario is going to be at. But we'll get those videos and share them, give you guys some shots. There was some backing contest video. There was transfer dump competition. I think there was some doubles competition that was in that video set. Maybe a couple more, but we'll see what we can do. So to introduce our guy that I've got coming into the show, his name's Trooper Monty Dial, and he's been around 10-4 and trucks for a long time. now retired, but part of the old blue team and blue crew that used to be at all the truck shows with the old blue truck, and that truck is on the promo today. So if you saw that promo, then you saw the picture of it and Trooper Dial. Trooper Dial, what's going on, sir?
Not much. Doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. And show us what you got there. That's the sign you was holding up. Go ahead and read that to everybody.
All right. Remembering R.J. Taylor. Gat salutes. Taylor, who used his old blue USA, his 1950 Kenworth to teach road safety to school children and the monitoring public, and to bring together trucks and law enforcement.
Excellent. Very good. Now, where's that originating from? Where did you get the sign?
This came from Gats the year after RJ passed away.
So the last Gats was 19, wasn't it?
Yes.
And RJ passed away in,
I want to say he passed away in 17.
I was going to say 17. I thought so.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. And Dan's commenting in there that RJ was a cool dude. Sure do miss that guy. Yeah. The good ones, it's you just don't forget about them. They leave a lasting impression, and they did something that kind of sticks with you, and RJ was one of those guys.
Next week, I'll have something even better.
Okay.
I'll have you a model of the 1950 Kenworth old blue truck.
Excellent. And I hope there's a lot of folks that should remember that truck and had seen it at many shows back in the day. And I remember seeing it and thought, what a great thing that it was to have you and him and the team that you guys brought every time to a show to kind of bridge that gap. There's always that gap between law enforcement and the truckers. And and some truckers are all good with it. I mean, look, that's part of the deal. There has to be referees at the game. There has to be law enforcement involved, and making sure that things are going on right. Hang on a second here, guys. I see that. Okay, so let me get this out here, Miss Linda Tracy, or whoever you really aren't. I'm going to delete you, and I'm going to block you, and for the rest of y'all that are in here that have decided that you're gonna jump in here and just start spamming us, think again. Not gonna tolerate it. So don't tune in here and just drop your junk on us. I mean, that's just not cool. Come on, really. So it seems like it's just more and more of that every day and week and so on. So I'm just kind of going through, clean this up, and it looks like she's tagging people as she goes through here, or he, it, they, I don't know. It's just so hard to tell, only because you don't know what's behind the actual profile that's being shared. Mike Viviano, what's going on, buddy? A few more days and your reign is over. We'll have a new cover to take over the pages of 10-4 magazine. I got one more, and then we're back, Monty. And by the way, I'd like to say hi to Mike again, and Alyssa, good to have you on here. And yeah, spammers are getting bad, man. It's just part of the deal. And I'll tell you one. I mean, and Monty, sorry to take from you here for a minute, but one that happened just recently, and that was when our good friend Mike Haran passed away. Some spammer starts dropping stuff on one of the posts about Mike, and they didn't even read what was going on because they just dropped their garbage right there. And come on, I mean, that's just pathetic. Really is. Like, that's going to make anybody want to talk to you, no matter what you got to say. Be relevant, folks. Okay. Be in the now. And that goes for everybody sitting at the table and their phones in their hands, and they're not talking to each other, and they got their phones buried in their faces, and there's no communication going on. That to me is as bad as this other deal where this person just dropped some crap about, hey, DM me, we want to be friends with you, and blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to be a part of it. So if you come over here onto the show and that's what you're thinking you're going to do, like whoever she was, and she's gone and blocked now, don't do it. Just don't. Thanks, Monty. Sorry, buddy.
That's all right. That's all
Got to
right.
have what's a show without the host having a rant?
Yep. Yep. Got to do a little house cleaning.
Little house cleaning is right. Yeah. So going on, we were talking a little bit about it and asking each other what's going on. Well, in the immediate right now, it's the CVSA's Brake Safety Week, and that is going on right now through the 31st. So, it's real easy to find out exactly what it's all about, but I think it's funner to hear us talk about it. You could go to the CVSA website and they'll give you the rundown, what it is, what they're looking for, and why they do it. And it's a good thing that they do, because I mean, I've seen some of the pictures of the stuff they've found at some of these inspections. Not that they're not looking for this stuff regularly when they inspect a truck and it gets pulled into a scale or an inspection site of some kind, wherever it's set up at. This just happens to be a bigger focus on it, right?
Right. What they do is anytime CVSA has a special emphasis, they call it a level 4 inspection. And in this particular instance, this week, they are doing nothing but brakes. So what they'll do is they'll pull a truck in and they'll look at strictly the brakes. Now, if they find something wrong, then they may elevate it to a level 1 inspection to include all other items. But if they pull a truck in, they do a quick brake check, and they don't find anything wrong, the truck goes on down the road. So
Yep.
he's usually in and out in less than 15 minutes.
I think one of the most common things, and probably not as much anymore, but because of auto slack adjusters, but even in that case, if you're not servicing that slack adjuster, it's not working properly. So they need to be cleaned and greased and taken care of. But I've seen stuff on trucks myself where, brakes are out of adjustment, slacks are bad. I've seen brake chambers with broken brackets, and and that's of course on like a CVSA video where the guy puts his foot down and the slack adjuster pulls away from the bracket. I mean, crazy stuff, right?
Oh yeah, it's I've seen a lot of them when I was out working. You ask him to step on the brake, and the brake chamber goes one way, push rod goes another way.
Not good. I got a question for you, and I think I
Yes.
know why he's asking this. And this is our good buddy Oscar Velasquez. The question is, Trooper Dial, are historical trucks required to pass through scales when loaded with other historical vehicles that are going to a show?
Oscar, my response would be pull in there, explain to the trooper or the inspector what you are doing. Let them decide whether or not they want to inspect your truck or send you on down the road. Now, you bypass the scale, the red flags go up, and somebody's liable to chase you down 2, 3, 4 miles and turn around and bring you back. So, easiest thing to do is if the sign is on or the lights are on saying that they are doing a inspection, then go ahead and pull in, explain to them what's going on, what you're doing, and if they're not interested in you, they'll give you a wave and send you on your way.
Looks like you got Mrs. Trooper Dial
Yes,
just come in behind you.
I showed up.
Uh, I got a question, and it dovetails in right with Oscar's, and that's so many trucks you see out there, and they say not for hire on them or private or something like that. Um, does that give them any kind of a real declaration that they have with any authority, or what is that all about?
Really. If they put a sign on the side of the truck that says they are not for hire, that means they are what we call a private motor carrier. They are still subject to all the rules and regulations of the motor carrier safety regulations. It's just they are not required to have what we call operating authority. And that's the only reason a lot of them put on there that they are not for hire. We're still going to take and look at every one of them.
Okay. Oscar, I hope that answers your question. And here's, my before the answer from you, Trooper Dial, in my mind, it was saying, if it's a private coach, then you shouldn't have to pull through. Even if it's a private truck, I should rephrase that, private truck or tractor, but it's still if it's a Class 8 vehicle and it's pulling a trailer, technically, theoretically, they want to see them pull in, I think is probably what you're saying, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. And Oscar says, thank you. Thanks for asking, Oscar. And while you guys are at it, anybody else is tuned in that wants to get any questions answered, ask the question and we'll get taken care of. Mike says he needs a new DOT sticker. He went into Sonol, and I know where he's talking about, been there myself, Scales yesterday, and asked for an inspection, and also gave them a magazine for my inspection buddy. And his boss said no. And I think that must be a typo because I don't know. No val enters. What does that mean, Mike?
What they do, JT, is when I was working, we would have a lot of drivers that would come in the last month of the quarter that they are in, and they would sit there and ask, hey, my CVSA decal is fixing to expire. Can I go ahead and get a level 1 inspection and get a new decal if I pass? I did not have a problem inspecting them. I know that a lot of the drivers put a lot of emphasis on that CVSA decal as well as other inspectors and troopers. If you're out on the line, trucks are coming through, and I look up and see that you have a valid CVSA decal, I'm going to give you the once over. And if I don't see anything wrong, you're going to get the wave, and I'm going to send you down the road.
There you go.
A lot of the drivers nowadays, they know that. And when they're getting close, they are looking for someone to sit there and give them another level 1 inspection. And probably at the same time, most of the motor carriers that these drivers work for give them a bonus for passing a level 1 inspection and getting a decal.
We had a gentleman on the show last week that does give bonuses to drivers. So and for those simple and same reasons, Mike, I should have realized that's what you were saying. Volunteer. Yeah. Now, if I remember right, those CVSA stickers are good for 90 days, right? They have a tab that they cut off each corner or something.
Right.
And that way,
Right.
Yeah.
They're good for 90 days. And the way you can tell is it's green, yellow, orange, and white. And it's right, both, and none. That's the month within the quarter.
Gotcha.
So drivers can look at them and they can say, "Hey, I've got one that's got no decals, no corners pulled off, and I'm in the first month. So I need to find me someone that will give me a good inspection."
Gotcha.
And most of the time, these drivers, they know what is required, and they are up on what is a violation and what is not.
Yeah. I remember having those, and I was always happy to have a fresh one because I knew that gave me a pretty good chance of not having to get in and go through that. And for me, it was just a matter of the time. We're all out there making dollars by the time that we make on the road to where we're going. And sometimes those inspections can turn into, a lengthy deal. If you have stuff that they find, especially, it's going to be longer than you really ever thought. But I guess the rule of thumb is, make sure your stuff's good rolling down the road and that there's nothing to be found.
That's the way it works.
Yep. So I'll tell you, Trooper Dial. I don't know if I told this story yet, but this is a Donnie Hendricks story for the guys out in the San Joaquin Valley down there. They know who I'm talking about. Donnie and I used to run together every now and then during the season. We got pulled in with both of us at Sonol, Mike. So this is good relevance. What made me think of it. Mike got pulled in. Pulled himself into Sonol. We got pulled into Sonol, and we got two of the cleanest transfers that run in California. You know, the valley, the whole. I mean, all over, clean, new, fresh, everything. So we get in there, both of us side by side in the scale house. We're getting the looks over, and we both, you know, we're out of our trucks talking to the guys, and said, "Hey, why did you guys pull us over or pull us in? I mean, come on." And they said, "We just wanted to check your trucks out." And so I couldn't really get upset, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, so that's something I should probably be okay with, you
Yes.
know, and
In fact, the trooper out of Indiana that I partner up a lot of times, that's the way he is. He will sit there and see a truck that he's never seen before, and he is amazed at how clean and smart looking the truck is. And
yep.
he'll sit there and pull the truck over and just sit there and chit chat with the driver. And the driver's like, "What the hell did you pull me over for?"
Well, and that wasn't the end of it either, by the way. They wanted us to light them up and hit the train horns for them, and then they sent us on our way. And that was how we started our day, because we used to run the slurry material out of the foothills in Jamestown, California, into the city, San Francisco, and all the Bay Area, so they could repave the roads down there. And this was us coming back after dropping our first load. When we put our first load on the ground in the morning, it was like 3, 4, whatever in the morning. And we're on our way back up the hill to go get in line to get loaded again, make our next load, then go back up, preload, and go home. Well, this was our first one going back, and so it was dark, it was morning, it was, anyway, it was fun. I'm glad those guys were as cool as they were, and they got a kick out of us. And you know what? I think in the long run, I think it just pays off. Everybody's nice to each other, and we all get along, and nobody bothers nobody, right? I mean, why can't it be that way?
That's very true. In the years that I was working and doing the truck inspections, most of the time when I told them what I had stopped them for, and I was going to do a DOT inspection, the attitude of the truck driver seemed to change a lot because he knew that I was not there to wear him out.
Yeah.
He would accept if I found something wrong, but he knew that he was going to be taken care of with gloves on.
Yep. We got a comment here from Mike. The sticker, he says, is actually good for the month you get it in and 2 more. Okay. So that could be up to 90 days, depending on how far you are into that month, I suppose.
Yes.
And then, so if you get one on the last day of the month, it's actually only good for 2 months. And that's correct. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
You're right. Yep. That's absolutely correct, Mike. But always a good thing to have. You know what? Bottom line is, whatever you can do to make yourself better, look better, run better, safer, all of those things, you're going to make more money. Now you might spend more getting to those points, but that can come to be part of the process as well. But it's fun, but it's nice to be out there knowing that your chances of not getting looked at for a random inspection, and it's, let's say it's your worst day and you got to get where you got to go. The last thing you need to do is get pulled over for some random inspection. And trust me, y'all know as well as I do, that's never any fun. So on the other hand, there have been, and in my experience, times where I have got inspected, and on a brand new truck, they found an air leak. And this happened at my shop. So at my terminal, and it was my terminal inspection. The DOT guy was underneath it, and he's like, "You got problems here. Brand new truck from the factory, air leak." So um, didn't hear it. At least I didn't. I mean, what reason would I have to go poking around? I'm like, oh, new truck, let's go make money. You know, so we got it taken care of, and that was the end of that. So sometimes, hey, it's not so bad, you know. Hey, look, and just guys, just again, give me a minute here. Look, Peachy Lisa, we like you too, but listen, be relevant. Don't come in here and spam us and drop your whatever you're doing. You know, whatever it is, it's just not for us. It's not for the show. If you got something, you know, that's relevant to the show, I'd love to hear it. And I never called you. She says thank you for calling. Never called you. But we do invite people to come and watch the show. It's a public forum. Anybody can jump in. You know, just be respectful, and usually everybody is, except for these spammers. So, thanks, but no thanks, and bye bye. Oh man, it's just not going to ever happen. Yeah, Mike, I was leading up to that too, and Trooper Dial. I think you and I have spoke about the pre-pass program, but let's touch base on that again a little bit. And pre-pass is freaking awesome. I think it's great. So, what's your take on pre-pass? And it's changed from the when I got out, which was 20 years ago, a little bit. I think it's a little better now than it was before, right?
Oh, it's definitely. And for those that are listening, let me kind of go back and start from A and go to Z on the pre-pass. Uh, what happens is under the current conditions, FMCSA updates the data on motor carrier from roadside inspections every 30 days. So if a carrier has a good rating and they're out trucking, uh, they go through inspections after inspections with no problems at all. That's what FMCSA is looking at. So what they do is they allow the states that use the pre-pass to go in and select motor carriers that have an unsatisfactory rating, which means every time one of their vehicles is stopped, it's placed out of service. So what they do is they queue that into their computer system so that if one of those trucks goes by, it's automatically going to get the red light. If you are a motor carrier that has a satisfactory rating, then what they can do is they can go in and say, okay, we're going to select every third, every fourth, every fifth truck for this motor carrier just to keep them honest. And so what they'll do is the computer system they have will say, okay, uh, XYZ trucking, we're going to set them up to inspect every fifth truck. And you happen to be the fifth truck in that sequence, then you're going to get the red light to go in and go through an inspection. Uh, if they don't find anything wrong, it goes into the database, and the company maintains their satisfactory rating. But you can take a motor carrier that has a satisfactory rating, and all of a sudden they can sit there and go from a satisfactory rating to an unsatisfactory rating. So it behooves the drivers to make sure that their equipment is properly maintained and the driver is doing his part to make sure that all of the equipment on the truck is working properly.
Absolutely. And honestly, we all know that. I think we all know that. We know there's a couple of goals that everybody should have in mind. And that is when we leave the terminal, we leave the shop, whatever wherever we start at, that we're going to return under our own power, and we've done no harm to anybody out there, including ourselves, while we've been out on the road. And those were two things that I always shared with my drivers and wanted them to know that I stood behind. It was my job to give them something that they could drive in any given day, in any given situation, and know that it's going to get them out of any situation that they might get themselves into, or uh, not anything due to their own fault. Everything's in the right place, works the way it's supposed to, and they don't have any issues with their equipment. Now it's up to them to carry that and make sure that they do their part.
Yes.
So,
And in fact, if you take and look at the large motor carriers, uh, if they have a strong safety department, chances are that motor carrier is going to be or has a satisfactory rating, and not every one of their trucks is going to be required to pull into an inspection station.
right, right. Well, it's a win-win. The drivers win, the companies win, everybody. I mean, look, it some guys have, I mean, an attitude. They don't want anything that's showing wherever they're at, doing whatever they're doing, and having any kind of extra kind of monitoring going on. I think a lot of guys are getting over that at this point, especially knowing the fact that if you've got a cell phone, we know where you're at. Okay. It's not anymore a secret. Um, yeah, people know where you're at. If they need to find you, they will. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you should be okay out there. Now, stuff gets stretched. ELDs are in place now to prevent that from pretty much happening anyway. So I think everything's incorporated into the ELD now, isn't it?
Yes, there are some exemptions to the ELDs, but most of the trucking companies that operate outside of the 150 air mile radius are required to have an ELD every day the truck is moving. So get in there, learn it, use it. Don't try to cheat it, and you're going to be fine.
You'll go far, young man. You'll go far.
Yes.
All right, Trooper Dial, I appreciate your time again, as always. I look forward to it. Next month, which is coming up on us pretty quick, we'll get you in more towards middle of the month. How's that sound?
Yes, sir. That'll work great.
Pick a topic and let me know what you want to do. We'll get you in here, and if I hear anything back from our audience, then we'll submit that for maybe a choice or a topic of what we're going to discuss during the show with you then too. So look forward to it as always.
Yes, John. Good to see you, buddy.
You too as well. Take care now.
All right.
All right, everybody. Trooper Monty Dial there, and for us to have a resource, um, such as Trooper Dial. Dan, you derailed me there, buddy. And I'll get to that in a minute too. Some of us are seeing that comment, some of us are not. I'll bring that up. But we really appreciate Trooper Dial and his experience, his knowledge, his honesty. And I just think what an easygoing guy, great to talk to and with and be a part of Studio 10-4 Live. So look forward to many shows ahead with him. And you guys just spread the word out there for us, man. Let everybody know that, this show is something that we intend to continue to build and work to make better every time we go through and add something or maybe pull something out. But we will definitely keep going. We just would love for you guys to share more with the audience out there and your friends and whoever, and let them know what you do on a Wednesday at 5 o'clock sometimes, and what we're all about and what we're doing here. So, just Dan put this up, and on a sad and final note tonight, Scott Marone, founder and producer of the Wheel Jam Truck Show in South Dakota, passed away last night from pancreatic cancer, which he was just diagnosed with back in April. Another one gone too soon, for sure, to cancer. Rest in paradise, Scott. So And last weekend, Dan was up in Brooks at the truck show up there, and its show founder and Dan helped me out again. I'm sorry, but I didn't know him that well. So forgive me, I don't remember his name. He passed away in the show there. I'm sure was a nice remembrance for him as well this weekend. So way too many. Hey, you know what, guys? There's a few simple things that we can do. Frank Merrill, thanks, Dan. Frank Merrill was his name up in Brooks show. There's a few things we can do, two of which I know of. One I have done, one I have not done. Colon cancer, get the colonoscopy thing, get it done. Pancreatic cancer, get the pancreas inspected and whatever they need to do to check that out. I haven't had one yet, but that one is, I think, nicknamed the silent killer because nobody knows. And not that colon cancer is any, walk in the park. We lost our good friend Mike Horan to that. And it's just, there's no excuse for it at this point. Just, they used to say 50, then 40. It seems age has no discrimination on this particular disease. So get yourself checked out, man. It's pretty much become a preventative maintenance cash cow for the health industry. So let them milk it and let them check you out. Make sure you're going to be good to go for a long time to go. Get it done. Yeah, all good advice. Tim, Mike, Dan, everybody. Yeah, good. Get it done. So listen, guys, I got this video. I found it, and I'm going to bring it up on the screen here, and let's see if I can get any of this to play. And I'll get it up in full screen, and that way we can see a little better. So this is from back in like 1994, and if there's any of our old school guys from back in the day, trucking for kids or otherwise, this is what it was, man. This was the this was the trucker rodeo back in the day. You got an In-N-Out truck over there, GSF. They're doing their backing, and we're going to have this at the 10-4 Trucker Rodeo November 2nd and 3rd. And this competition like this will be happening Saturday, November 2nd. And again, remember, everybody, November 1st is when we want to get everybody into the show because the events are going to start Saturday. So get in, get parked, hang out, get your RV, parked, and let's have a party because it's going to be one. It's going to be a big time fun party. All right, there. I want to bring up another one here. I'm going to pass on this one. I didn't watch this one yet, so let's check it out. Looks like a little transfer dump competition going on. Those look like an old set of transports, and in fact, they even could be a set of Rogues, an old set of Rogues. And they got a set of tubs in there with them too. There's some technique here that these guys are pulling out. I watched another one of these earlier, and as soon as that guy jumped out, his truck body was getting raised up. And here comes the guy that dumped all the beer cans. I remember this guy. That is a no-no. No beer or otherwise cans or garbage in your dump at the show. Oh, I mean, look at this guy go. This guy's go, and you know what? I used to transfer like that too when I was downhill, not so much uphill, but they're in a race, so it's just get it done, get as fast as you can. Let's see what this guy with the tub's doing. He's falling behind, so he's already in the box. He's got himself transferred, raised up, and he's going to back up and hit the dump mark. As soon as he does, in fact, he's already got it going down, so he's on his way back. And this guy's got it going. He knows what he's doing. He's doing short movement. Oh, no. Oh, that guy. Not cool. Just not cool. Oh, man. I'd like to know who those two guys are right there. They're shaking their heads going, what the hell's wrong with this guy, right? Well, we know whoever shot this, who they were interested in. Not so much the, hey, there's Kelly Barr. What's going on, Kelly Barr Anderson? Anyway, you guys get the idea. There's a lot of different stuff that's going to be happening at the show. I did not watch this one either. Let's take a look here. We got a flatbedder, huh? Oh, I think these guys might just be parked and they're just checking them out. So anyway, you guys get the idea. November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Oh, hey, Kelly's on the show. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Good to have you in here, darling. November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The first is just to get in, get parked, get set up day. So the sooner you get in on Friday, the sooner you can start having fun. And then on Saturday, the events all start in the morning, sometime around 10 o'clock or so. Yeah, Dan, thanks. Thanks to Nick Hales for posting those videos and letting me pirate those videos off his Facebook profile. Jeffrey, what's going on? Mr. Botello in the house. Sunday is going to be exclusively for the hay guys. Those are the guys that are going to be doing the hay boom loading and the squeeze competition. So when they're done and there's hay all over the place, we don't have to worry about getting that cleaned up right away to finish the day or the events or any other events or races that will be going on after that. But you know, this is going to be some kind of hay and cattle loading, right? The cattle loading competition with not real cattle, thank goodness, because then that would be interesting if we did that. Maybe sometime down the road we get a do a roundup, you know, ground the cows up and all that. That would be quite a sight. Anyway, I can't wait for this to happen, but we do have a lot of shows between now and then. Two of them, which all of Team 10-4 will be at. I probably not Eric Hill, but all of us here out on the West Coast will be there, and that's going to be the Souza Memorial at the Turlock Fairgrounds there, and then Bobtail in Davis, California, and then our show in November. So, great having Trooper Dial back. We're gonna have him back every month, you guys. So know that he will be here and he'll want to and be able to answer all your questions. Was it 4th annual, Tim? For some reason I was thinking 3rd, so you're right, 4th. 4th annual. Okay. Looking forward to it and all that's going to be taking place down there. And then of course, remember this weekend, there will be Team 10-4 showing up at No Coast, and that is going to be at Heritage Park in Forest City, Iowa. And Dan, Shan, and Eric Hill will be on site. We will have the 10-4 magazine booth set up. Depending on how much we're getting to that point in the year where we're starting to kind of have to figure out what swag we can take, especially on a long distance one like that, where we need to get stuff from the West Coast out to them. Mr. Hill probably has some stuff that he'll be taking with him to bring up to the show, but hopefully we'll have some goodies for everybody and go by, say hi to everyone and take in the show with Team 10-4. All right, everybody. Good to have you guys. Thanks for tuning in. As always, anybody has any questions, thoughts, ideas that you'd love to share with us, we'd love to hear them. Don't hesitate. You can direct message me and I'll respond. If you have a guest that you'd like for us to shoot for to get on the show, I'd love to hear about it. I'm not afraid to try to get anybody and call them and find out if they want to be on Studio 10-4 Live. I mean, who doesn't want to be on Studio 10-4 Live? Look forward to next week. We will have Mr. Mario Monette out here on the show, and we'll be talking performance. So you guys want to get him running and get him running right. Mario's a guy. Great fan and partner and friend of 10-4. Really appreciate Mario and what he's doing for the industry, especially. And we'll be talking about that because some people do good things and more than others to make everybody look good. And Mario's definitely one of those guys. So I look forward to having him on the show with us next week. Till then, y'all keep the sunny side up and and yeah, just stay safe out there, man. Stay safe. And listen, again, get yourselves checked out on these colon tests, colonoscopies, and the pre-screen thing. You probably have pre-screen stuff being sent to you. And it just, if you don't, ask your provider if you have one to send it to you. Okay. There's stuff out there that's real simple, real easy to do at home before you even have to go. Mike, I'm with you, brother. All right, y'all. Take care. Be safe.